Galatians 1 verse 6. I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel. What we see here is that Paul comes and he feels the pain in his heart of being rejected by the people in Galatia. The people that came in and spoke lies about him has not only harmed what they believed about God, has not only brought in a wrong gospel to them, but they've also slandered the name of Paul. If we read further on in Galatians, we find that the Galatian people would actually have plucked out their own eyes to give them unto Paul. What that means is that they would have given everything to see what Paul is seeing. They loved him and they loved what he preached. But here the Apostle Paul comes and he says that he is actually amazed that they are so soon turned away from him. Let me read it again. I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel. Now, when we read this, we almost see a kind of a despair in the life of Paul, where Paul had a thorn in his flesh, where he was going through a very difficult time. We kind of hear a little bit of a negative heart there, because Paul says, I marvel that you are so soon turned from him that called you into the gospel. It was almost as if the Apostle Paul knew that wherever he's going to start a church, there are going to come people and they're going to get him to, or they're going to get the people to be negative towards him and turn from the gospel. And this was what we can pick up from the Apostle Paul. So he was also going through difficult times. He was going through hard times. He was at a place where he would go and preach passionately, starting the gospel in churches, or starting churches in areas, bringing the gospel for the first time to areas. But he knew it wouldn't be long before those Judaizers would come in. It wouldn't be long before Christians come in that believe in a mixture message wherein there is law as well as grace. And what he says here is that they are actually also then not just turning from him, but they are turning from the gospel. I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel. Paul took it personally. When you turn away from the gospel, you are also turning away from him. Paul has united his mind and his heart completely into the gospel. He called it his gospel. He was giving his heart. He was bringing the gospel. And when there was a rejection of the gospel, Paul was so united with that gospel that he knew that he would also be rejected. For it would be impossible for him to be quiet and not say something when you believe an incorrect gospel.